This documentary is not a scientific lecture, nor a religious sermon. It is a mirror, a poetic reflection of what is found in the books of Shi'a Islam, a worldview shaped by love, light, and sacred narration, passed from the Prophet Muhammad to his family, the Ahlulbayt, and to all who seek truth through them. What you are about to hear is sacred. It is not merely narration, it is testimony. What came before the Big Bang? What came before time, space, and the laws of physics? Science tells us how the universe expanded. It maps the radiation, the particles, the temperature of space. Physics explains what happened after the Big Bang. Energy expands, equations predict, but not what came before. Time breaks down, equations collapse. Energy doesn't feel, equations don't choose. Can something come from nothing? They describe what happened after the Big Bang, but not what came before. And here, the door opens. If something came before the Big Bang, it must have been unlike anything we can measure. Not matter, not energy, not even space. It must have been light. The light is not photons or waves, aware, loving, eternal. Gave before anything could receive. Loved before anything could return. Love. Many civilizations have spoken of a mysterious light, a spirit, sometimes symbolized as the eye. They describe the seed of life, the Genesis pattern, the flower of life, sacred forms said to hold the blueprint of creation itself. Throughout history, sacred geometry, from circles to spirals, has pointed to something divine. Patterns like the flower of life appear again and again, in ancient temples, in nature, even within ourselves. But one question remains. Behind the elegance of the pattern, a question still lingers. What is the spirit behind the pattern? Does it have a name? And why did it exist at all? This documentary unveils what was hidden, a truth spoken long ago and silenced for centuries. Now the veil begins to lift. This light is described in an ancient narration, preserved through sacred memory and passed down through generations. Modern physics tells us the universe is expanding, and yet, within the tiniest particle, we find a reflection of the whole. Every cell contains code, every atom dances with energy, and within the human being is a mystery deeper than stars. From the vast spirals of galaxies to the delicate patterns encoded in a single strand of DNA. Centuries ago, a voice spoke these words, words that still echo today. Do you think you're a small entity, while within you is enfolded the entire universe? By Imam Ali in Nahj al-Balagha. Long before microscopes or telescopes, this truth was known by hearts illuminated by light. It is said that a student named Jabir once asked the Prophet of Islam, "What was the first thing God created?" He replied, "The first thing Allah created was the light of your Prophet, O Jabir." And that's where the mystics begin, not with heat, but with light, not with randomness, but with will. They say the first thing created was conscious. It was aware. It was love. It was the light of Muhammad. A light that chose to shine, not to destroy, but to be known. Mysticism completes what science cannot finish. This was not the birth of a man. This was the emergence of divine will, the first light from which all other lights were born. From the light of Muhammad, Allah created the throne, the pen, the tablet, and all that exists. The pen writes not cold math, but meaning. Hadith al-Kisa, the tradition of the cloak. The 5 holy figures under the cloak are Prophet Muhammad, Imam Ali, Lady Fatima, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. Then comes the 6th presence, Angel Gabriel, who asks for permission to join them. In mystical interpretation, Jibra'il does not bring light, he responds to it. His presence represents the expansion or radiation of divine light from these 5 pure lights. He is the carrier of revelation and the one who transmits divine will to the worlds, signifying the first outward ripple of this sacred center. Sacred geometry. 1 light splits into 2, 2 merge to form a 3rd. From that, 2 more lights, 5 total, forming sacred shape, expands into the flower of life. These were not just lights, they were witnesses, conscious, eternal. From them came symmetry, mercy, and the architecture of all existence. Allah, the source of all light, beyond form, beyond limitation. The 5 pure lights, Ahlulbayt, Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein, peace be upon them. Created from Nur, light, before all things, they are the first reflectors of divine mercy, will, and knowledge. Gabriel, not of the Ahlulbayt, but drawn to their light. He doesn't originate revelation, he carries it. He reflects their light as the bridge to creation. We are like mirrors, reflecting the light Jibra'il delivers. The closer we polish our hearts, the more purely we reflect the original divine source through the path of Ahlulbayt. In the beginning, there was light, not the kind measured in wavelengths, but a light of intention, love, and infinite intelligence. From that light, a field was born, an invisible, immaterial presence known in divine teachings as ether. In the language of mysticism, ether is the first veil, the space between being and becoming. Modern science seeks this field in theories of quantum foam and dark energy, but divine knowledge called it ether. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq said, Allah created light, and from that light, he created the ether, a veil between the heavens and the throne. From this invisible sea came movement, air, not merely oxygen or gas, but a breath, a cosmic stirring. Imam al-Sadiq teaches, from the ether, Allah created the wind. He caused it to stir the water and give it life. In that moment, motion was born, and the fabric of time began to tremble. Water, the first known element of life. From that breath, waves formed, subtle and celestial, and the ocean of creation was poured. In both scripture and science, water is the matrix of life, the fluid of birth and transformation. Imam al-Baqir said, the first thing Allah created was water, and from it, everything was made. But water did not remain alone. From its unseen depth emerged fire, not a fire that destroys, but one that radiates without smoke. This was the fire of angels, of luminous beings. Imam al-Baqir said, from the water, he created a fire without smoke. From this fire, he made the angels of light. Then came the earth, not as a planet first, but as stillness given shape. From foam, from breath, from spark, dust was formed, sacred, stable, awaiting soul. Imam al-Sadiq said, Allah sent wind to gather the foam on the surface of water, and from it, the dry earth was formed. Light became ether. Ether stirred and became air. Air moved and gave birth to water. Water ignited fire, and from fire's edge, earth found its form. From five, the framework. From framework, the temple. From the temple, the soul would descend. But why did God create the universe? Why light, ether, air, earth? Why galaxies? And why us? A whisper from the unseen answers it all. I was a hidden treasure, and I loved to be known. So I created creation, that I might be known. This was not a command of necessity, but a command of mercy, not a reaction, but a revelation. Creation is the answer to a question of love. Who will witness me? Who will reflect me? And so, the soul was born, not from dust alone, but from the breath of the divine. Modern science tells us that life emerges when matter becomes complex, but Scripture tells us life begins when the soul enters form. The Quran says, "And I breathed into him of my spirit." The soul was not an accident. It was the key to the divine mirror. Formed from earth, lit by fire, washed by water, moved by air, but awakened by light. And so, the soul was sent from the realm of unity to the world of forms, from knowing the one to forgetting, searching, remembering. This descent was not a fall, it was the beginning of the journey home. You are not just made of matter, you are made of meaning. You were born from a light that loved to be known, and your heart remembers because it came from that treasure. From the breath of the divine came the soul, and from the light of Muhammad came the pattern. But for that soul to walk, it needed form. In the Quran, Allah said, "I am creating a human being from clay, from molded mud." Earth, the final element, became the cradle of the soul. But the soul was not born of earth, it descended into it. Then Allah said, "And I breathed into him of my spirit." This is not mere breath, but a transmission of consciousness. The divine spark, hidden in the cage of clay. The angels were commanded to bow to Adam, not because of his body, but because of what was inside him. The light of Muhammad was within his forehead, a light older than the angels themselves. When Allah taught Adam the names, he taught him the essence of creation. And among those names were Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, and Hussein. Imam al-Sadiq said, "The names that Allah taught Adam were the names of the Prophet and his family." Adam was not just the first man. He was the mirror that reflected what had been hidden. He carried the clay of earth, but within him shone the light of heaven. Through Adam, the journey of the soul truly began. The angels bowed not to dust, but to destiny. The soul, now wearing clay, stepped into time to remember the light it once knew.